Using technology doesn't mean we have to be more alone instead of being more connected to those around us. Being plugged into our devices doesn't mean we can't also be fully plugged into our lives and the lives of others. When used in the right way, technology can actually give us a positive impact on human values, which is to establish meaningful relationships and build connections with the people in the real world. And how are we going to do that? One of many ways is through the use of video conferencing, with the applications such as Google Hangouts, Google Meet, Skype, Zoom, and others give us the ability to establish and maintain relationships and build connections with other people more frequently and cost effectively. Technology isn't meant to replace face to face interactions, but if anything, it can enhance them. Being able to show that we value someone even from afar is still showing them they are valued. Technology used in these meaningful ways can create strong relationships and connections that we might not have necessarily been able to create from afar before.
One positive impact of technology in human values is it promotes peace. As the use of new technologies in peace operations expands, their benefits and drawbacks have attracted increasing attention from researchers and policymakers. New technologies help in promoting peace with others and within oneself as well. Particularly useful for peace operations are technologies that facilitate monitoring and observation, including unarmed unmanned aerial vehicles or UUAVs, video monitoring systems, motion detectors, and satellite imagery.
One of the positive impacts of science and technology on our human value is easier communication with other people. Because of the new technologies, communication become easier. We can now call or text someone in just one click away. Now we all know that communication is very important in our human values because it expresses our ideas, thoughts, and feelings. At the same time, it helps us to understand the feelings, emotions, and ideas of other people.
Although conflict prevention does not get the attention or funding it deserves on a global stage, this may be changing with the availability of new technological tools. Science and technology provide opportunities to collect the data about crime and conflict and reduce the gap between warning and response. For example, crisis mapping, social media mapping, and crowdsourcing tools can help generate data on conflict indicators. The data generated from these tools can help identify patterns associated with conflicts and peace in order to better inform conflict prevention efforts or to monitor violations of ceasefires or human rights.
Another example of a positive impact of science and technology to the human values is that this enhances the collaborative being and fair play of a person. Since now that we are in a pandemic and people are expected to stay at home, especially here in the Philippines where it's almost past a year and we're still expected to stay at home, most people, especially teenagers, enjoyed and are still enjoying playing online games. Most of these online games needs to form teams, and these teams become opposing teams of each other. Since we are then working as a team, of course, collaboration is needed. Collaborative game playing necessitates the development of our social skills. So even though the players are at the comfort of their own homes, their social skills are still developed while or are still being used while playing these said games.
Despite all of the advantages and positive impacts of science and technology, still it has detrimental effects on human values. Adverse health effects is one of the primary disadvantages of science and technology. But how would these adverse health effects be interconnected to human values? We all know that nowadays, due to the prominence of technological advancements, several forms of online games have emerged. With this, a huge percentage of the human population are being exposed to so much engagement with these kinds of platforms that definitely cause them to be addicted. Online games addiction affects various dimensions of health, and because of this addiction, the well-being of a person as a whole is much affected, and several factors take place such as irritability, violence, destruction of the inner peace, and of course the degradation of moral and ethical behavior.
Or improper social etiquette. Technological advancements made it possible to connect us to anyone in the world by the use of social media. In here, we can exercise our freedom of speech and hide in anonymity. The downside of this is that social media is now full of angry and judgmental people. Netizens criticizes anything they see on their feed that doesn't fit to their golden standards. It is very frightening that freedom of speech is being abused and is now being used to spread hate. Respect and proper decorum is not observed anymore. With this, I can conclude that even though technology helped us evolve, it also makes us terrible human beings if not used properly.
One of the negative effects of science and technology to human values is it amplifies violence, making evil actions easier and destroying human rights. It is contrary to God and our faith because it has all the hallmarks of an evil force. The worst injuries to ourselves and our species come at the hand of science and technology. For instance, atomic bombs, guns, not to mention the technologies of wars like tanks, landmines, and many more, which have been designed with the purpose to kill human beings. It not only destroys the lives of those killed, it damages the characters of those who live on, the perpetrator and those who permit evil by inaction.
Technology may cause a loss of empathy. Empathy can be learned and it can be lost. Every time a person chooses to communicate through text message, email, or social media rather than face to face, many of the neurological keys to feeling empathy are missing from the exchange. Technology can manipulate and exaggerate antisocial and polarized positions, and these are blamed for eroding empathy. Therefore, the innate ability most humans are born with to identify and understand each other's emotions and experiences are lost. It is also proven on some researches that dependence on technology increases impulsivity and lowers frustration tolerance, and those mostly affected are the kids who remain emotionally immature, resulting to bullying, temper tantrums, and angry outbursts.
First, we have pollution. Air, water, heat, and noise pollution can all be caused by producing and using technology. Consuming resources or non-renewable resources, including precious metals like gold, are used to make technology. Waste manufacturing technology creates large amount of waste, and used computers, electronics get thrown out when they break or become outdated. Next, we have disrupting ecology, clearing land where animals used to live to build factories and allowing pollution to contaminate the food chain can greatly affect the environment's natural cycles. Lastly, we have health hazards. Using toxic materials that can harm our health can cause cancer, and technology addiction can lead to other health problems like obesity and carpal tunnel syndrome.